12 terrifyingly breathtaking archaeological discoveries that shocked the world. Hello, welcome to the latest video on the Ancient History channel. Dear friends, if you think the world has already been fully explored, hold on. Don't jump to conclusions just yet. The deeper we dig into the earth, the more science reveals astonishing and breathtaking mysteries. Thanks to modern technology, archaeologists are constantly uncovering secrets humanity has never heard of, leaving everyone who witnesses them wide-eyed with amazement. As you already know, history is never gentle. It hides stories that are both overwhelming and spine-chilling, enough to give both scientists and viewers like us goosebumps. From the strange rituals of ancient Egyptians to mummies so well preserved they look like they were laid to rest just yesterday, to mysterious tombs guarded so rigorously for reasons unknown. All of these are full of countless questions. And today, on this journey of discovery, I'll be taking you with me as we peel back each layer of these secrets to see what history has truly been hiding from us. Are you ready? If so, let's begin with our first mysterious and fascinating discovery right now. 5,000-year-old skeletons of two gay men force history to be rewritten. Until now, many people have believed that homosexuality is a modern phenomenon, linked to contemporary society, open culture, and the explosion of information. But when we look back into the past, history surprisingly answers a question that shocks anyone who hears it. Could same-sex love have existed under the layers of ancient time? It wasn't until 2011 that archaeologists in the Czech Republic boldly confirmed that such relationships did exist in antiquity, and the evidence is clearer than previously imagined. However, the story doesn't start there. In 1964, Egyptian scientists discovered a peculiar tomb dating back approximately 2,400 years BCE. The tomb belonged to two men, Neankhkhnum and Khnumhotep, royal manicurists in ancient Egypt. At first glance, they seemed like ordinary officials, but the way they were buried stunned archaeologists. The two men were laid to rest together, side by side, like a married couple rather than as brothers or colleagues. Initially, experts hypothesized that they might have been twin brothers, as shared burials among siblings were not uncommon. But the more they examined and analyzed, every image, symbol, and motif on the tomb walls told a very different story. The carvings depict the two men standing close together, hand in hand, gazing at each other in a manner similar to depictions of married couples in ancient Egyptian art, not like relatives. What's even stranger is that Neankhkhnum actually had a wife, whose image once appeared in the tomb. For reasons unknown, some images of the wife were erased, and in positions where her depiction should have been, Khnumhotep's image was substituted instead. Even more striking, when archaeologists deciphered their names, they discovered something extraordinary. Their names were inscribed side by side, meaning together in life and in death. This was not how Egyptians represented brothers or friends. This was language reserved for married couples. Notably, in ancient Egypt, only pharaohs and close royal associates were allowed to construct tombs of this type, suggesting that Neankhkhnum and very likely Khnumhotep held significant status, potentially directly connected to the royal court. Thus, their relationship may have been a secret deliberately concealed by those in power at the time. Delving deeper, experts note that terms like gay or homosexual were not defined until 1920. Before that, such relationships were considered rare or seldom recorded. This makes the discovery of a 5,000-year-old same-sex love story shatter the notion that homosexuality is merely a modern product. Modern science explains that sexual orientation, including heterosexuality, homosexuality, bisexuality, and sometimes asexuality, is a complex combination of innate and environmental factors. It is not a conscious choice, nor is it something abnormal, as many prejudices have claimed. The story of Neankhkhnum and Khnumhotep is a vivid testament to human diversity dating back millennia, transcending any modern stereotype. Yet the question remains, when did homosexuality first appear? Where did it originate and why has it existed alongside human history? There is still no definitive answer. What do you think? Can love truly transcend time and social boundaries? Share your thoughts in the comments so we can discuss together. 9.8 feet tall, giant skeletons shrouded in legend. When people think of giants, many immediately imagine fairy tales or the storybooks of childhood. But did you know that in real life, amid the wild mountains of Georgia, scientists have reportedly found skeletons reaching up to 9.8 feet tall, dating back 24,000 to 25,000 years. This discovery in the Borzomsky Gorge instantly sparked fierce debate. Could this be the first clear evidence of a race of giants? The skeletons astonished archaeologists, who openly admitted that these remains do not resemble any modern human skeletons. Renowned archaeologist Abesalam Vecua of the Georgian Academy of Sciences emphasized that these artifacts are exceptionally significant. For a long time, scientists have hypothesized that, in the distant past, Earth may have been home to an extraordinarily tall race of humans. Until now, these ideas had been based only on scattered records and legends, without convincing evidence. But this time, the traces are right before our eyes. The femur bones of these skeletons are far longer and thicker than those of modern humans. Even more striking are the unusually large skulls, suggesting that their owners were not only gigantic, but also biologically unique. Vecua believes that these ancient people lived in an isolated area, apart from any known civilization, and that their isolation may have caused them to evolve differently from other humans. Interestingly, some ancient scientific texts occasionally mention a race of giants, though no document ever provided concrete confirmation. This makes the current discovery feel like a doorway into entirely new mysteries that humanity has yet to unravel. Further surveys of the area believed to be their settlement revealed remnants of burial pits eroded by time, along with small stone-paved pathways winding through the mountains. Across a wide expanse, soil and rock worn away by small streams have exposed fragments of bones, almost as if telling the lonely story of a lost civilization. Moreover, last year, German scientists announced another startling discovery: an entirely unknown ancient human species living in southern Siberia. These consecutive discoveries seem to piece together a larger picture of human history, suggesting that we have only scratched the surface of the truth. From the giant skeletons in Georgia to the mysterious people of Siberia, these findings have led scientists to believe they are approaching answers to questions once thought unanswerable. Where did humanity originate? Who were our true ancestors? And was Homo sapiens the only human branch to ever exist? Looking at these massive bones, one can't help but wonder, could there still be a hidden race beneath the earth, leaving behind faint traces as messages for future generations? What do you think? Did giants really exist, and what might have happened to these ancient people? Share your thoughts below. Perhaps your ideas will help others gain deeper insight into a race of humans once called giants. Isn't that amazing? 9,000-year-old ancient human fossils found in a Middle Stone Age cemetery on Corsica. In the heart of the Mediterranean, the peaceful island of Corsica might seem to offer nothing more than sea breezes, pine forests, and windswept cliffs. Yet beneath its ancient soil lies a massive secret, lying dormant for 9,000 years, waiting for modern humans to uncover it. Thanks to the collaboration of archaeologists from several French universities and a Danish specialist, that secret has finally been revealed with the discovery of an ancient cemetery, an excavation that has already changed our understanding of the Middle Stone Age on the island. Joseph Cesari, responsible for managing the archaeological site and historical artifacts, noted that this discovery is clear evidence that humans inhabited Corsica during the Middle Stone Age, rather than arriving later as some previous studies had suggested. Over several months of meticulous excavation, the team uncovered skeletons scattered within just a few square meters, including 4 to 5 adults, a teenager, and even an infant. All were found in the Capo Stefano area, a site of immense importance in European archaeology. You might think that alone would be enough to create a sensation, but it wasn't. After 7 years of quiet study, the archaeologists discovered another almost fully intact adult skeleton, carefully buried as if challenging humanity's patience. According to Cesari, the find was kept secret to prevent interference from tourists, especially in popular locations such as Filitosa. Archaeological sites like this can be irreparably damaged with just a few careless steps. To protect the intact skeleton, archaeologists painstakingly dismantled parts of the skull and limb bones using delicate tools such as tweezers, brushes, and even small wooden sticks. Each layer of soil was gently removed, and every bone fragment lifted as if preserving the memories of an entire vanished era. Yet the discovery goes beyond simply finding the remains. DNA analysis proved to be the golden key to understanding the lifestyle, diet, and origins of people who lived thousands of years before us. Patrice Courtauld, a paleontologist and CNRS researcher in Bordeaux, highlighted that it is extremely rare to find a cemetery from this period containing so many individuals. This makes Capo Stefano an invaluable information mine for archaeology. Dating of the first skeletal samples indicates they lived around 9,400 to 8,800 years ago, 7,400 to 6,800 BCE, though some specimens were affected by the high acidity of the granite soil. These findings allow scientists to better map the timeline of human habitation on Corsica and raise new questions. Who were these people? How did they live on an island surrounded by the sea? Did they organize themselves in groups, tribes, or families? And why were they buried together in such a small area? We may well be standing before a living archive of lives that existed 9 millennia ago, lives now told only through skeletal remains. What do you think this discovery might reveal? Could upcoming DNA analyses uncover secrets about prehistoric humans that we've never known? Honestly, I wouldn't dare guess, because the ancient world still holds far too many mysteries. Maya tomb, discovered directly beneath a hotel construction site. If archaeology is full of surprises, the latest discovery in Palenque is a perfect example. Imagine this. While preparing to build a luxury hotel in a heritage area, construction unexpectedly uncovers, just beneath the seemingly ordinary soil, an entire ancient Maya funerary space, mysterious, profound, and filled with untold stories. Creepy and fascinating at the same time, right? Palenque, a city recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since the 1980s, is famous for its pyramids and architectural marvels that have amazed the world. It was once the thriving center of the Maya civilization from around 226 BCE to 799 CE. Over thousands of years, the stone walls, ancient staircases, and grand temples have endured, a testament to the extraordinary creativity of ancient humans. However, alongside this prosperity, Palenque eventually fell into decline. By the 8th century CE, the population began to thin, and the city was eventually abandoned. When the Spanish arrived in 1520, they recorded only a small scattered population. Today, Palenque has become a major tourist destination, attracting visitors from all over the world. Because of the increasing number of visitors, the Tren Maya Hotel project recently began construction on the outskirts of the site, an area previously believed to contain no ancient structures. But, as often happens, the assumption "nothing's there" can be proven wrong. During excavation for the foundation, the construction team unexpectedly uncovered a stone-paved funerary chamber, sealed beneath solid limestone slabs at a depth of approximately 13 feet. Archaeologists from the National Institute of Anthropology and History, INAH, were immediately called to the scene. Once on site, they quickly realized this was no ordinary tomb. Inside, the skeleton was laid on its back with legs extended and the head oriented to the north, a burial practice indicating the individual's high status. Alongside the remains were ceramic vessels and beads, funerary items typically associated only with members of the Maya elite. Based on this, Diego Prieto Hernandez suggested that the individual buried here may have been an important figure living in a small settlement on the outskirts of ancient Palenque. However, at this stage, all of this remains a hypothesis. Accurate conclusions will require more time, detailed analysis, and clearer evidence. For now, the Maya tomb discovered beneath the hotel foundation remains shrouded in mystery. No one knows the true identity of the skeleton, their role in Maya society, or why they were buried in this specific location. Can you guess who they might have been? A 1,000-year-old miracle medicine revealed in a water-submerged tomb in China stuns archaeologists. When it comes to ancient tombs, most people immediately think of layers of rock as hard as steel, dark passageways, and unpredictable dangers. And indeed, no matter how experienced, experts cannot escape the risks of exploring sites that have been resting undisturbed for thousands of years. Decayed coffins, structural shifts, toxic gases, any of these hazards can appear without warning. But the story of a water-filled tomb excavated in Jiangxi, China in 2011 went far beyond imagination. That year, when archaeologists began digging in what seemed like an ordinary area, they had no idea they were about to make one of the most shocking discoveries since the 1970s. During earlier land reforms, many ancient tombs were disturbed, and numerous graves were accidentally excavated, effectively turning new pages in Chinese history. Yet it wasn't until 2011 that the name Marquis Haihun, Liu He, truly shook the archaeological community. Haihun, the grandnephew of Emperor Wu of Han, the ninth emperor of the Han Dynasty, is a historically unusual figure. Though he ascended the throne, he ruled for only 27 days before being deposed, leaving behind records of rebellion that enraged the populace. He died at the age of 33, and no one expected that his tomb, buried deep in Jiangxi, would have such a unique structure. This tomb is referred to as a water tomb because it had been submerged in sewage water for centuries. Terrifying as it sounds, that water effectively acted as a shield, protecting the tomb from grave robbers. As a result, the treasures inside remained astonishingly intact. When the archaeological team carefully removed layer by layer of soil and stone, they discovered countless valuable artifacts, including ancient seals, gold items, and many culturally significant relics. The most remarkable moment came when a cleaning staff member accidentally picked up an orange box. Its corroded bronze exterior immediately suggested it might contain the legendary miracle medicine mentioned in ancient texts. When the lid was opened, the team recoiled in shock. Inside were thousands of objects that looked like tiny golden insects, filthy enough to make even the most seasoned archaeologists shiver. Yet they didn't give up. After a few minutes of composure, they examined the contents more closely, and the result astonished everyone. What had been mistaken for tiny corpses turned out to be Cordyceps sinensis, the rare and highly prized eastern medicinal fungus. This miracle medicine was historically sought by Chinese emperors to strengthen health and prolong life. Even more incredible, these specimens had been submerged in dirty water for over 2,000 years, yet they remained perfectly preserved. How they survived for so long remains an unsolved mystery, despite repeated and painstaking analyses by experts. Today, this 1,000-year-old miracle medicine is carefully preserved in a museum, awaiting the day modern science can fully unlock its secrets. So if you ever have the chance to visit, take a moment to see for yourself what ancient people considered the ultimate treasure. A 700-year-old sword stuck in stone lies silent beneath the Verbas River. Beneath the cold waters of the Verbas River, some 36 feet below the surface, near the village of Rakovic in northern Bosnia and Herzegovina, archaeologists stumbled upon an incredibly strange discovery. A 14th-century sword embedded straight into a rock, lying undisturbed for nearly 700 years. It sounds like something out of a legend, but it is a fact confirmed by experts. From the moment it was lifted from the river, the sword instantly became one of the most sensational medieval discoveries in recent history. People have even dubbed it the Excalibur of Bosnia, because the image of a sword stuck in stone so closely resembles the legend of King Arthur. But unlike mythology, this sword carries genuine historical significance, and every rust mark tells a story that has been sleeping for centuries. Archaeologist Ivana Panzic, working at the Republic of Srpska Museum, explained that the sword was heavily corroded, requiring extremely careful handling. Even the smallest mistake could damage the already weakened metal structure. Experts also noted that this is the first sword ever found near the medieval town of Zvečaj, a former center of power for Bosnian kings. In the last 90 years, only one other sword from the same period has been discovered in the entire Balkan region, highlighting just how rare and valuable this find truly is. Analysis of the blade revealed that it dates from the late 13th to early 15th century, a turbulent period marked by wars, power struggles, and empires constantly redrawing boundaries. Even more fascinating, the sword was discovered very close to the ruins of a Zvečaj castle, which once housed the thrones of Bosnian kings before being destroyed in 1777. Yet the biggest question, one that captivates everyone, remains. Why is the sword stuck in the rock? Who placed it there, and how could it have remained undisturbed for centuries at the riverbed? So far, archaeologists have no definitive answer. Some hypothesize that it may have fallen from a destroyed bridge. Others believe it could be a remnant of a fierce battle that once took place nearby. There is also the possibility that it had a ritualistic purpose, a kind of symbolic mark of medieval power. The more researchers study it, the clearer it becomes that this sword is more than just an ancient piece of iron. It is like a key to the mysterious doors of Bosnian history, where legend intertwines with reality, and where every stone and every ripple of water holds stories yet untold. So what do you think? Is this sword the relic of an unknown warrior, part of a secret ritual, or a remnant of a larger story waiting to be revealed? Personally, I suspect it was part of some secret ritual. If you have a better theory, feel free to share it in the comments below. Giant handprints, engraved in the White Mountains. We can gain insight into how our distant ancestors lived through the marks they left on the rocks and caves we see today. The petroglyphs in the White Mountains stand as a powerful testament to the lives of Native American tribes who inhabited the area between 200 and 1,000 years ago. Beyond the hundreds of carvings in the region, there are also enormous handprints etched into the stone. The White Mountains petroglyph site is located in the Red Desert of Wyoming, a region once home to Native American tribes. These rock carvings and pictographs serve as windows into the past, providing data and information about the lives of those who created them. Among the carvings and handprints, we find the most tangible connections to the Great Basin Native Americans who lived here from roughly 200 to 1,000 years ago. These tribes included the Shoshone, Arapaho, and Ute. The petroglyphs reveal much about the beliefs and culture of people who lived here hundreds of years ago and even earlier. Some carvings depict bison hunts and elk, while others feature bighorn sheep and wild horses. In addition to animals, the rock faces are adorned with intriguing geometric shapes and small footprints, adding to the rich visual landscape. Although the meaning of many shapes and symbols has been lost over time, Native Americans still regard them as sacred. They feel a connection to nature and a sense of positivity when visiting these sites. According to a Native American elder, these symbols hold deep communal significance. They feel as if the rocks themselves are alive and connected to them. The most mysterious of all are the handprints deeply engraved in the hard sandstone, as if someone had somehow softened the rock and pressed their hands into it. Historians suggest that the Eastern Shoshone created the handprints between 1000 and 1800 CE. Over time, thousands of people have performed similar hand motions on the sandstone, creating the effect of deeply imprinted handprints. Local stories also recount that Native American women often visited the White Mountains during childbirth. As labor contractions began, they would press their hands against the rock, and over time, these actions formed the deep handprints seen today. The petroglyphs were carved from sandstone, a relatively soft rock that gradually hardens over time. They were likely engraved using objects harder than the sandstone itself. But what about the handprints that seem to have been literally pressed into the rock? They lie deep within the hardened sandstone, creating the impression that ancient people somehow softened the stone. While this has not been extensively studied, experts believe that the childbirth explanation offers a plausible reasoning. Through repeated pressing and pushing over time, these handprints became deeply and clearly embedded into the sandstone. Priceless treasure in a 4,500-year-old tomb astonishes archaeologists. When it comes to ancient Egypt, most people immediately think of pyramids, pharaohs, and mysterious mummies. But you may not know that Sakara, a vast ancient necropolis located about 20 miles south of Cairo, has long hidden secrets far beyond our imagination. Recently, a discovery shook the archaeological world. A 4,500-year-old rock-cut tomb was uncovered in the heart of Sakara, revealing priceless treasures of this enigmatic civilization. The discovery was confirmed by the Egyptian Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities and resulted from a collaboration between Egyptian and Japanese archaeologists. Led by Dr. Nozomu Kawai, the team opened a window into the past, finding a tomb carved directly into the rock, dating from 2649 to 2150 BCE, the era of Egypt's Old Kingdom. With such a long history, the tomb served not just as a burial site, but also as a stone journal, chronicling various historical periods of Sakara and ancient Memphis. During the excavation, the team felt as if they had entered a true treasure trove. They discovered the remains of a man buried with a remarkably lifelike mask, its vibrant colors appearing as if painted yesterday, despite having survived millennia. Nearby lay the burial of a small child dating to the Second Dynasty, 2890 to 2686 BCE, indicating that this area served as a cemetery for multiple social classes of ancient Egypt. Delving deeper, the archaeologists were astonished to uncover a coffin from the 18th Dynasty, 1550 to 1295 BCE. Inside it was a perfectly preserved gypsum jar, untouched and unbroken, as if it had been placed there only recently. But that was not all. Two finely crafted clay statues depicting the goddess Isis and the god Harpocrates were also found, reflecting the spiritual beliefs of the ancient Egyptians regarding protection and the afterlife. Additionally, the team discovered a stela inscribed with the name of a man called Heroides, along with numerous amulets and ostraca, pieces of pottery used for rituals and daily life. Each fragment, each inscription, provides clues to help archaeologists understand ancient Egyptian burial rituals, funerary practices, and spiritual beliefs. Sakara, home to more than a dozen pyramids and thousands of tombs, has long been recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Every few meters excavated reveals a new chapter of human history. This recent discovery follows a series of major finds in recent years. For example, last January, archaeologists announced two tombs from Egypt's 5th and 6th dynasties, 2500 to 2100 BCE, including a coffin that was exceptionally well preserved. And it's not just Sakara. Egypt continues to reveal its secrets. Dozens of New Kingdom, 1800 to 1600 BCE, burial sites have been found near Luxor, and the remains of an entire ancient Roman city were discovered beneath the sands to the south. All of this demonstrates that ancient Egypt still has countless stories waiting to be told. Who knows, perhaps beneath the sands of Sakara, treasures hidden for 4,500 years are still waiting to be unearthed. After all, you never know what might be discovered next. Chinese beauty mummy in a 700-year-old tomb remains almost perfectly preserved. On what seemed like an ordinary day in 2011, as a new road was being expanded in Taizhou, no one expected that just under about 6.5 feet of soil lay a secret that had been asleep for 7 centuries. The story began when a group of workers digging the site accidentally struck a strange coffin. Acting on instinct, they immediately halted all work, left the scene untouched, and called experts from the Taizhou Museum to take over. From that moment, the story unfolded like a thrilling archaeological film, gripping anyone who witnessed it. As soon as the specialists approached, they confirmed that this was no ordinary coffin. When the lid was opened, layers of fine silk wrapping the body gradually emerged, along with a layer of brown liquid coating it, something that still sparks debate among scientists today. Even more astonishing, when the final layer of silk was removed, before them lay the nearly perfectly preserved body of a woman. Her eyebrows and eyelashes were intact, and her face appeared soft and lifelike, as if she had only closed her eyes yesterday. She still wore jewelry, the most striking of which was a bright blue ring, clearly indicating her high social status. Based on her clothing and the items in the coffin, from pottery and writings to intricate silk layers, archaeologists determined that this woman lived during the Ming Dynasty, roughly 700 years ago. They named her the Taizhou Mummy, while the media affectionately called her the Chinese Beauty Mummy. She stood about 4 feet 11 inches tall, with a graceful figure and delicate features, signs that she belonged to the aristocracy during the prosperous era of the Ming Dynasty. So what allowed her body to remain so astonishingly well preserved? Many experts speculate that embalming techniques during the Ming era were remarkably sophisticated. According to Wang Weiyin, director of the Taizhou Museum, mummies of that time were often wrapped in multiple layers of silk and some cotton, creating a sealed environment that slowed decomposition. Others suggest it may have been a natural process. The coffin might have been buried in a stable, low-oxygen environment, preventing bacterial growth and preserving the body for centuries. But what puzzled archaeologists most was not the preservation itself. It was the woman's identity and life story. Who was she? What position did she hold? And why was she buried in a remote location with no other remains nearby? All of this remains beyond archaeologists' expectations, as no related documents or tombs have been found, making the quest for the truth even more challenging. Today, the Taizhou mummy is preserved at the Taizhou Museum, which has been exhibiting Ming Dynasty mummies since 1979. After decades of study, Chinese experts have gradually learned how to maintain bodies intact after excavation. Yet this 700-year-old beauty still holds many unsolved mysteries. It is precisely these enigmas that make her story so captivating, and every time it is recounted, it feels like stepping through a doorway into a distant past. Upon reflection, one realizes that history always knows how to hide unexpected treasures, and sometimes, a single accidental shovel strike can shake the entire archaeological world. a 1,900-year-old Roman sword set found in a Dead Sea cave. If you think the caves around the Dead Sea are nothing more than sand, rocks, and a few small relics, think again. Right in this seemingly fully explored region, archaeologists have unexpectedly discovered 4 Roman swords, almost perfectly preserved, and they are nearly 1,900 years old. A find that would send chills down the spine of any history enthusiast. Initially, scientists returned to this cave with the sole purpose of studying a stalactite inscribed with ancient Hebrew script. It seemed like a routine survey, but as they followed the remaining traces, related artifacts began to appear. Then, in a deep crevice on the upper level of the cave, almost inaccessible without specialized equipment, they uncovered a weapons cache hidden for nearly 2 millennia. The weapons consisted of 4 swords wedged tightly in a rock crevice, astonishingly well preserved. Even more remarkable, the swords still had their handles and scabbards, made of leather, wood, or metal. For ancient weapons, having intact handles and scabbards is extremely rare, as leather and wood typically decay over time. Yet, in the harsh, dry environment of this cave, they survived almost as if someone had hidden them just a few years ago. According to researchers, 3 of the swords are spathas, a long sword commonly used by Roman soldiers. Each blade measures about 24 to 26 inches long. The 4th sword differs, with a round handle and a shorter blade of only 18 inches. Based on the shape and construction, archaeologists believe these swords were likely spoils taken from the Roman army during the empire's occupation of Judea. After the sword discovery, the team expanded their excavation within the cave, uncovering even more intriguing artifacts. They found items dating back to the Paleolithic era, around 6,000 years ago, alongside Roman-era objects from roughly 2,000 years ago. This indicates that the cave was used across multiple periods, with each era leaving its own traces behind. Delving deeper, the team uncovered a highly significant piece of evidence: a bronze bar Kokba coin dating from 132 to 135 CE. This corresponds to the Bar Kokhba revolt, the major Jewish uprising against Roman rule in Judea, led by the leader Simon Bar Kokhba. Given the coin's date and the location of the swords, archaeologists suggest that these weapons were likely seized from the Romans by Jewish rebel fighters and hidden in the cave to avoid detection. Perhaps the fighters never returned to retrieve them, leaving the swords undisturbed in darkness for nearly 2,000 years, waiting to be discovered by modern humans. As you can see, the story of a single Dead Sea cave opens a fascinating window into history. A bloody revolt, the warriors who fought to reclaim their homeland, and weapons forgotten by time. Truly a remarkable find, isn't it? 80 bronze mirrors found in a Han Dynasty tomb, China. In a dramatic and captivating archaeological discovery, scientists have excavated a remarkable collection of ancient bronze mirrors from a cemetery in Shanxi Province, China. Believed to be the burial ground of Han Dynasty nobles more than 2,000 years ago. Can you imagine it? After 2 millennia, many of these mirrors are still reflective, preserving intricate patterns, swirling clouds, and delicately carved depictions of ancient figures as if they were made yesterday. The mirrors range in size from about 2.8 to 8.7 inches in diameter. They were not merely cosmetic tools, but also symbols of status, ritual, and even sacred protection for the deceased. Most were placed near the head or upper body of the skeletons in the tombs. The cemetery where these treasures were uncovered is located in Gaozhuang town, within the Xin district of Xi'an, Shanxi, a region that was once a cultural and political center of the Han Dynasty. This area contains more than 400 tombs of the noble class, surrounded by countless artifacts, from exquisite pottery to bronze jewelry, and notably, bronze mirrors, living evidence of the advanced craftsmanship and aesthetic thinking of ancient China. Initially, the archaeological team discovered the cemetery and some familiar artifacts, but recent excavations revealed the true treasure: a large collection of bronze mirrors found in both male and female tombs, illustrating the widespread and diverse role of mirrors in Han Dynasty daily life and funerary culture. What particularly impressed researchers was the mirror's artistry and manufacturing technique. Made primarily of bronze and tin, with traces of lead, each mirror was cast in a clay mold and polished so thoroughly that it could produce a clear reflection. Unlike other bronze objects, the mirror's function, reflecting images, required far more careful and meticulous surface treatment. In fact, looking into these mirrors, you don't just see your reflection, you almost feel glimpses of a living ancient civilization within. According to archaeologists from the University of Hong Kong, the idea of creating mirrors likely originated from a simple yet profound moment, when ancient humans first saw their own reflection in the still waters of a pond or lake. From this inspiration, the concept of making reflective objects emerged. Over time, starting with the Neolithic Chijia culture in Gansu, where China's oldest mirror, approximately 4,000 years old, was found, mirror-making techniques gradually improved. However, it was only during the Han Dynasty that mirror production reached its pinnacle. Mass-produced, stylistically diverse, consistent in quality, and deeply symbolic in Chinese society, mirrors were not only personal items, but also powerful cultural artifacts. They appeared in rituals, myths, and especially in beliefs about the afterlife. Placing mirrors in tombs was believed to help the deceased see the path to the underworld or to reflect evil spirits, protecting the soul. Decorative motifs on the mirrors, from mystical clouds to mythological figures, carried profound symbolic, religious, and spiritual meanings. The Han Dynasty, which lasted from 206 BCE to 220 CE, is regarded as a golden age in Chinese history, marked by remarkable advances in science, technology, literature, medicine, and the arts, comparable to the peak of the Roman Empire in the West. In this context, the creation of exquisitely crafted bronze mirrors and their widespread use among the nobility reflects the wealth, sophistication, and symbolic culture achieved by Han society. If you ever thought archaeology was just about digging up bones and old objects, these mirrors will make you think again. They are not merely ancient artifacts, they are time windows, vividly reflecting the stories, beliefs, and aesthetic sensibilities of our ancestors from thousands of years ago. And who knows? Behind their slightly cloudy surfaces, countless secrets may still remain untold. 2,000-year-old tomb on Briar Island reveals the golden age of Iron Age female warriors. Amid the salty sea breeze and the lush green grass of Briar Island, few would imagine that beneath the seemingly peaceful soil lies a story that has kept archaeologists captivated for years. It is the story of a tomb over 2,000 years old, discovered in 1999, a discovery that quickly became the center of debate because it challenges conventional ideas about Iron Age society. During excavation, researchers were surprised to find, alongside the skeletal remains, a bronze alloy sword and a large shield. Anyone familiar with the Iron Age knows that such items were typically buried with male warriors, men who went to battle and protected their communities. At first glance, it seems straightforward. The tomb belonged to a high-status male warrior, but all assumptions were overturned by an unexpected discovery. Within the same tomb, archaeologists also found a hairpin and a bronze mirror, items traditionally associated with women in ancient times. Both objects served as identity markers, used to accompany high-status women in burial rituals. On one side, symbols of male status, on the other, symbols of female identity, all placed with a single set of remains. This contradiction left experts puzzled. Who, then, was buried in this tomb? Dating methods revealed that the tomb dates from roughly 100 to 50 BCE, a turbulent period for ancient British tribes. This was a time when communities were in constant conflict, competing for land, resources, and survival. In this context, the burial of a woman with both a sword and a mirror is extraordinary. It not only confirms the presence of female warriors, but also suggests that these women played significant roles in a society often assumed to be dominated by men. Many hypotheses suggest that this woman may have been a military leader of her local tribe. The sword symbolizes power and combat ability, while the mirror represents status and authority. Together, these items portray not just a warrior, but a figure of influence, someone who may have led raids, organized defenses, or even commanded battles right on Briar Island. Some researchers believe that the presence of powerful women like her in Iron Age communities may have paved the way for legendary figures who followed, most notably Boudica, the warrior queen of the Iceni tribe. Boudica led a fierce uprising against Rome in 60 CE, shaking the mighty empire. Perhaps precedents like the woman in the Briar tomb laid the spiritual and social groundwork for future female leaders. Although we may never fully understand the precise meaning of each object in the tomb, the combination of sword, shield, hairpin, and mirror tells a story more clearly than words alone. This woman once held a remarkable place in her society. A warrior, a leader, or both. Whoever she was, this makes the Briar Tomb an astonishingly compelling window into the past. You see, from skeletal remains curled up as if trying to guard their final secrets, to structures buried for thousands of years, yet still radiating an overwhelming presence, every archaeological discovery is like a door opening into a world that modern humans have never touched. The deeper we go, the more we realize that history is far from gentle as it appears in books. It is filled with strange, haunting tales that sometimes send chills down your spine. And it is precisely these breathtaking moments that make the journey of exploration so irresistibly compelling. The 12 discoveries we've just explored together are only the tip of the iceberg. Out there, beneath layers of soil and stone, among seemingly lifeless ruins, who knows what stories may still lie hidden? Stories that could upend everything humanity thinks it knows. So, if you find your heart still racing after each of these moments, that's your signal. You belong on this journey, the journey of uncovering secrets that have never seen the light of day. And who knows? Next time, it might be you witnessing a discovery that leaves the entire world holding its breath. So remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our exciting discoveries. For now, goodbye and see you next time.